Konnichiwa minasama, we are going to talk about an anime called Happy Sugar Life. So if I were to describe this anime in one word, it would be that Happy Sugar Life, I think, is the PG version of the manga Goodnight Punpun. Now, if you've read Goodnight Punpun, you know that it's a manga that is guaranteed to give you depression. But I think that Happy Sugar Life is a bit dark, and it might not be as dark as Oyasumi Punpun, but it also manages to keep you hooked, and it also kind of gives you a satisfactory conclusion, and it also has many grey characters in it, just like Oyasumi Punpun. But Goodnight Punpun kind of wastes your time by talking about God and cult and whatnot instead of focusing on Punpun completely. So I think Happy Sugar Life is better in that aspect. So Happy Sugar Life is just the anime for you if you have read the likes of Homunculus or A Trail of Blood or Oyasumi Punpun or Metamorphosis or any other dark manga. But if you are a slice of life comedy anime light-hearted person, then you should stay away from Happy Sugar Life, because Happy Sugar Life kind of fools you by looking like a slice of life anime. Like, its art style is also pretty cute, the characters are pretty cute, and it fools you into thinking that it is just your average slice of life anime with cute girls doing cute things. But after the first episode, you realize how dark this anime actually is, and I think that Happy Sugar Life in this aspect gets an 8.5 out of 10. It leaves you with an open-ended note, but I think it also manages to solve all the mysteries that it set up. So, according to me, Happy Sugar Life does have some memorable characters, like each and every one is important to the story, and even the characters who don't feel important don't take up much screen time in the anime. So, I think it is your go-to dark mystery if you want to finish it in one night. So from here, we are going to enter the spoilers. So if you want to go check this anime out, I suggest you exit the video right here. Now, if you're still here and if you want to listen to me rant about the anime, let's get started. So, Happy Sugar Life revolves around a normal high school girl named Sato Matsuzuka. Now, Sato Matsuzuka does not have parents, and she kind of stays with her aunt, and she is really pretty, like pink hair, pink eyes, a cute anime girl voice, and she is really kind, really smart. She also has a part-time job, and in the first episode she lives in an apartment flat with this cute little kid named Shio-chan. Now Shio-chan and Sato-chan have this bond like sisters, at least for the first 10 minutes, because after that you can see them reciting their wedding vows. Like, ew, okay? And after that you kind of see that Sato kind of kisses the 6-year-old Shio-chan. Again, it's good that they don't show the kiss because it's just the first episode, but I think out of all the people in the world, pedophiles are the creepiest ones to exist. There is something so icky about pedophilia, and if it is shown as glorification, like in BL, I just cannot take it, okay? So Sato-chan is just like, okay, fine, now I need to get to work. And turns out that in this harsh world ruled by capitalism, Sato-chan is kind of getting exploited and underpaid by her manager, who is also a pedophile, mind you, and she kind of assaults Sato's co-worker Mitsuboshi-kun. Now, Mitsuboshi-kun develops trauma because of this, and Sato kind of handles the manager by saying that, listen, I am the protagonist of the story and I'm kind of really smart, so obviously I can get all the clues I want in a jiffy. And she kind of guesses that, okay, Mitsuboshi-kun is trapped in this cupboard because the manager kind of assaulted him and wanted to keep him for herself. And then the manager is just like, wow, you have some nerve to be blackmailing me. But Sato kind of takes on the manager, and then the episode ends there with Sato going back home and hugging Shio-chan. Now, in the first episode, you have a lot of questions like how is Shio-chan with Sato-chan, and why is Sato-chan keeping Shio-chan with her? Is it really because Sato-chan loves her, or does she have some ulterior motives? And whose body is there in the plastic bag which Sato-chan was looking at the end of the episode? And not to mention, who is this guy and why is he handing out missing posters of Shio-chan at the end? And how is Sato-chan even doing all of this, and what is Sato-chan disposing of in this garbage bag? Like, who did she kill? Did she kill her own aunt, or what is even going on? And we enter the second episode where Sato has to deal with a teacher, okay? And this teacher looks like your normal homeroom teacher from a romance anime. This teacher actually turns out to be a pedophile despite having a wife and a kid, okay? So the teacher has the hots for Sato-chan because he knows that Sato-chan is kind of smart, so he kind of stalks her and he kind of follows her home, and Sato-chan is just like, "Ano sensei, stop stalking me and everything," and she kind of gives him a good scolding because she's the protagonist of the story. And also Sensei-san is just like, okay, so this girl is something else, and he kind of gets aroused by that also, but he knows that Sato-chan is not somebody to mess with when she gives him the trash, aka the cut up pieces of the dead body to take care of. And meanwhile, Sato-chan kind of tries her best to wipe the blood off in the room. Now, Sato-chan also has a best friend named Hida Shoko, and Shoko is shown to be the most sane person in this anime. Like, she behaves like a good friend and is totally normal, not like these psychopaths. Now, in the first episode, we also see a guy handing out flyers, and the missing person in the flyer is none other than Shio-chan. So obviously we don't think so much about it because we kind of suspect that Sato-chan actually kidnapped Shio-chan and is kind of keeping her captive, because Sato-chan's idea of love is being with Shio-chan forever, and she treats the apartment flat like a castle. Now, cut to the next episode where Sato-chan and Shio-chan are kind of having a good time, and Sato-chan gets a new part-time job, and also everything is kind of going well. But then we see that Mitsuboshi-kun slowly gets infatuated with the flyers, and he thinks that Shio-chan is this kind of an angel. And since Mitsuboshi-kun also has a phobia for older women, he kind of gets infatuated with the kids. So yay, he got converted into a pedophile. Anyway, Mitsuboshi-kun kind of finds Asahi, the guy who was handing out flyers, in the park getting beat up by delinquents. So obviously he kind of rescues Asahi, and he kind of asks Matsuzaka-san to take care of Asahi. And to Matsuzaka-san's surprise, Asahi recites the same vows as Shio-chan. We later find out that those vows were not actually wedding vows, but just a family thing which Shio-chan's mother came up with, and thus they just used to recite it together. Matsuzaka gets really jealous because she is just like, how is this possible? Shio-chan is only mine, and this guy Asahi is handing out Shio-chan's flyers, which means he is after Shio-chan. He might just destroy my idea of love and my happiness with Shio-chan, and she just couldn't take all of this. So she kind of loses control and takes a baseball bat or a metal rod and kind of tries to eliminate Asahi. But before she could lay a hand on Asahi, the door opens and Mitsuboshi-kun along with the manager come in. But Asahi is just like, listen, I'm fine and I will find Shio myself. So he leaves. And then cut to the next episode, we see Sensei suspecting that Sato-chan might have actually killed her aunt and is kind of living alone because her aunt just does not pick up the phone. And so he tries to stalk her again. And later, he finds out that Sato-chan has the police near her house. Now, before this, Sato was talking to her friend Hida Shoko. Shoko kind of feels lonely and she is just like, listen, Sato, I know you have a boyfriend and everything. You've rejected every guy in our school, but I was kind of your friend because I thought you and I were kind of similar and we just have each other. And I love you as my best friend. And you can tell me anything and everything, and I will kind of accept it. So Sato is just like, fine, I'll take you to my house. And turns out that near her house, there were police. So obviously, Sensei-san wants to see how Sato-chan is going to get out of this situation, and Sato just knocks the door, and she is just like, it's me. And her aunt opens the door. Now, Sato's aunt is kind of insane because of how cruel the world is, kind of like the Trail of Blood mother level insane. So she obviously acts like she's oblivious and everything, but in reality, she is kind of intercourse starved and intimacy starved and is just searching for love and everything. So she is fine if you just hit her and do whatnot with her. And also she is just like, I'll accept you for who you are and everything. So basically, woman's lost her marbles. And to the point, she even assaults the police officer, and the officers are just like, fine, just a crazy lady, nothing to see here. And then they just leave, dismissing the smell as trash. And then Sato is just like, fine, I'll take your leave, auntie. And then she looks at Hida. Now, Hida should ideally accept Sato for who this is, but Hida takes a long time to actually answer. And Sato is just like, it's fine, let's just be friends. And Hida is just like, no, I didn't mean to hurt you this way. And then Hida actually met Asahi on the way, and she kind of offers Asahi bread and kind of helps him with the flyers and everything. And then when Asahi spots Hida crying, he just asks her what's wrong, and Hida tells the thing about Sato, saying that, oh my god, I lost my friend and I kind of hurt her in the worst possible way. And Asahi is just like, it's fine, you're a really kind person and everything. And we see Asahi and Hida getting closer, and I really like the relationship between Asahi and Hida. I think it is one of the most wholesome things this dark show ever has to offer to us. So basically, Hida tries to make it up to Sato-chan, and Sato-chan kind of pushes her away, and she is obviously really polite about it. But then we see that in one of the episodes, Shio-chan kind of gets these constant headaches, and she kind of remembers a person who just doesn't have a face and is kind of like, come on, Shio, just get out of the house, because Sato-chan, being the mother Gothel, is just like, listen, the outside world is too dangerous and you must never ever go out. And Sato-chan is like kind of too late from work because she was overworked. So obviously Shio-chan kind of gets scared, and without phone or anything, she gets out of the house and she kind of starts to search for Sato-chan. And then she has the misfortune of bumping into Mitsuboshi-kun. But on the way, she kind of gets flashbacks about this person who is supposed to be her mother. And obviously, she is just like, okay, my head is spinning. I'm not able to remember anything, what is going on. And then Mitsuboshi-kun kind of finds Shio-chan, and he is just like, oh, okay, I never thought I would find you here. And then he just does something really, really creepy. He is just like, okay, Shio-chan, you being a 6-year-old kid must call me a good boy. Okay, Shio-chan does that. Innocent, cute little kid. And then he is just like, could you please kiss my arms that are injured? And Shio-chan kind of does that also. And she is just like, okay, Itai, go away. And it's just really uncomfortable to watch, because when it is in a manga, you're kind of used to it. But when it is played out in an anime with the voice acting and with the music, it's just really eerie and really tense. So basically, this happens, and then the same delinquents kind of attack Mitsuboshi-kun. Now, Shio-chan, seeing the blood, gets really, really scared and kind of screams. And before the delinquents could do something to her, Sato-chan kind of finds her in time and is just like, okay, that's great. And she manages to take Shio-chan and flee from the scene while Mitsuboshi is kind of unconscious. But Mitsuboshi kind of sees Matsuzaka or Sato-chan carry Shio-chan away. And so he just wonders what even is going on. So basically, Sato-chan is just like, fine, Shio-chan, don't ever do that again, after Shio-chan kind of apologizes and these two make up, and we again see them reciting their vows and whatnot, and they get really, really romantic, and it is just very, 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 very uncomfortable to watch this 6-year-old get romantic with a 14 or 15-year-old. And honestly, this anime just makes it uncomfortable. Like, it's not glorifying this, but it also just has this sequence that is showing this thing to be a very happy moment, and for a while I was not sure where this was going to go. So yeah, and then later we still see that Asahi is searching for Shio-chan, and then we see that in one of the flashbacks which Sato-chan has, she kind of lives in the apartment 1208, while the apartment she knocked on when she brought Hira-chan over was 308. Now, apartment number 308 was her actual house, and 1208 was the house of another person. So basically, Sato-chan, when she was a kid, never felt love. Her aunt used to bring over different men to the house, and she used to get beat up every day, and that kind of messes up the idea of love for Sato-chan. Now, Sato-chan is just like, listen, my heart is like a jar and it has a really big hole in it. So no matter how many candies you put in it, it never gets filled, because ultimately I don't think I am capable of love. And so she kind of tries to find meaning in love by going around with other older guys in a typical manga fashion and trying to see who clicks and who doesn't. And mind you, this is an underage girl. So obviously, she goes to apartment number 1208, and we never see the person's face. We only see Sato-chan talking to the camera as if she's talking to us. And apparently, the guy in 1208 just likes drawing Sato-chan so much. And he likes how incomplete she looked. And when Sato-chan bought Shio-chan from the streets because Shio-chan was lost, he just looks at Sato-chan and is just like, oh my god, I don't like her anymore now, because Sato-chan kind of looks complete. And Sato-chan just washes Shio-chan, kind of takes care of Shio-chan, and then this person gets an immense amount of jealousy and kind of tries to kill Shio because he thinks that Shio is kind of taking Sato away from him. But Sato-chan kind of bashes him in the head with a baseball bat or whatever, and the person just faints, thereby the camera just covers to red. And so that's the story of how Sato-chan and Shio-chan are living in the apartment 1208. So episode 8 was one of the best in revealing this mystery because it gives us an insight about Sato's character. Although briefly, I'll still take it since I've read worse backstories in this manga called I Wanted to Be Hurt by Love. Now, cut to episode 9, we see that Hida-chan and Asahi are kind of getting closer, and Hida-chan is just like, maybe you should just let go of Shio now, the police haven't found her, and also you just don't trust anybody else, so there is no way you can get Shio-chan, so I think that you should just let it go. But Asahi is just like, listen, Mitsuboshi kind of met me yesterday and he was just like, I think I know where to find Shio-chan. She was in the railway station. And before this, Sato-chan is just like, okay, Mitsuboshi-kun, I kind of know that you were there with Shio-chan because she told me that she talked to you. And if you want to see her again, you need to help me get rid of Asahi. And Mitsuboshi is just like, listen, I'm trying to be a normal person here. I want to be a respectable adult. I've seen how much my mom does for me and how she's the only normal adult in this show. And Sato-chan is just like, oh, really? Here you go. Take this sock. It is by Shio-chan. And this guy smells Shio-chan's sock, and he is just like, oh my god, Shio-chan is an angel. She kind of purifies the earth. She kind of purifies me, and then gets back to being a pedophile. Okay, this anime is messed up. And then he does what he is told by Sato-chan. So obviously he is just like, listen, so you need to go to the station and you need to go pretty far away because Sato-chan actually told me not to do anything violent when eliminating you. And the naive Asahi actually believes this. Now, Asahi's deal with Shio-chan is that he is actually Shio-chan's brother, and he was raised by an abusive father who kind of abused and assaulted Asahi and Shio's mom. Now, Shio's mother was taking this abuse and she was making sure that her children don't get much hurt. And obviously, she kind of manages to run away and she kind of tries to raise Shio separately. And later, she kind of comes to Asahi and apologizes a lot. So Asahi is just like, okay, my dad is dead. Thank God the devil is out of the house. And he begins to look after Shio. But Shio kind of disappears one day. So basically, Asahi is just like, fine, it's my only chance to find Shio, and kind of takes the first train. Now, this is seen by Sato-chan, and she is just like, finally, threat eliminated, let's go. And then she goes to Shio-chan, and she is just like, okay, you know what, we need to celebrate this. And she gets cake for Shio-chan. So Shio-chan is kind of enjoying Black Forest and everything. And later, she is just like, listen, Shio-chan, I kind of killed someone, and I kind of told someone that I love you because back at work, turns out that Sato-chan's co-worker is actually in love with her. And Sato-chan, being the ever manipulative person she is, kind of kisses her co-worker and is just like, now do not pry into my life again. Otherwise, I am going to hate you forever. So obviously, she is just like, okay, yeah, since you are my crush, I will not question anything you say. And she does exactly that. And later, she kind of also goes to Mitsuboshi-kun, and she is just like, fine, you can actually see Shio-chan, but just give me a little more time. And obviously Mitsuboshi gets manipulated by that also. And then she is just like, now we need to take this more seriously. And she kind of goes out to get stuff. And then Shio-chan's head keeps on spinning. And then she finally remembers that the person she used to see is her mom. And Shio-chan's mother kind of abandoned her because Shio-chan's mother realized that she was becoming just like her dad when she slapped Shio across the face because Shio was about to get knocked off by Truck-kun after going out after a long time. And so Shio-chan's mother just drags Shio out into the open and just leaves her there saying that, listen, I don't need you. And then she just runs away. Then a crying Shio is found by Sato-chan. And Sato-chan is just like, listen, your mom is just going. Don't you want to go after her? And Shio-chan is just like, yeah, my mom's heart is like a broken jar and I don't know how to fix it. And obviously, I see your heart too. It's also like an empty jar. And I know you believe in something and you want to fill it. And seeing how Shio actually understood her, at least partially, Sato was touched a lot. So she is just like, okay, Shio-chan is my soulmate, and thus she brings Shio-chan to apartment number 1208 and killing the actual owner, and then these two just live their happy sugar life. Now, Shio is just like, it's fine. Sato-chan, even if you killed someone, I will stay with you. I will fight for you. And you don't have to keep me like a doll in the house all the time. So Sato-chan is just like, okay. And then she is just like, fine, so we should get married. I assure you guys, this is like the least weird thing I've read. So obviously, Sato-chan kind of gets a ring and they kind of wear the engagement rings. They kind of recite their wedding vows for the 100th time in this show. And finally, Sato-chan kind of hugs Shio-chan, but then a picture is snapped. And turns out it was none other than Hida-chan who snapped that picture, because yesterday Hida-chan was just like, okay, Asahi, I'm going to miss you a lot. And she actually kissed Asahi, and she is just like, Asahi, I know you're not my type, and I just wish that you were my prince because I love you so much. And obviously, Asahi is kind of touched by it because Hida-chan is like really, really kind, and Hida-chan told him that, listen, there is light at the end of the tunnel and you should just believe in it. And obviously, seeing that, I was just like, wow, what a morsel of light in this very, very dark anime. And then it turns into a very scary scene because Matsuzaka-san kind of catches Hida-chan taking that picture, and she kind of drags Hida-chan into the house, and Hida-chan tells her that, listen, I'm not going to tell the police or anything. I just want to be your best friend. I just want to accept everything, and I know that Shio-chan already has your heart, and I know that everything is going to be fine. So I will always stay with you and I will support you no matter what. We have been best friends for so long. And Sato-chan kind of lets her go, but she holds Hida-chan's hand, and she is just like, do you really think that I would buy your lie about not telling the police or anybody about it? And then Sato-chan takes out a knife and she stabs Hida-chan in the neck. And this scene is very well done from an editing point of view and from a visual standpoint, because we have had so much emotional attachment to Hida-chan. And the fact that Hida-chan had brought up her friendship with Sato-chan and how she stated that she was going to stay with Sato-chan no matter what, and still get murdered for it without hesitation nonetheless from Sato-chan, shows that Sato-chan is a deranged psychopath, and she is even willing to sacrifice her interpersonal relationships for the sake of Shio-chan, because she believes that she had found true love, and she is willing to make any sacrifices for it with no strings attached. It is one of the best murder scenes I've ever seen in an anime, and I'm talking shonen included. And watching as Hida-chan struggles for her life as she repeatedly gets stabbed by Sato-chan, and she is literally scratching Sato-chan's hand, and she is just like, okay, now it's just the end. And you also feel really shocked and sad at that scene because you know how far Sato can actually go to protect Shio and protect what she believes in this romance idea. And she even killed her one and only best friend, the only sane person in the anime, for it. And she is just like, fine, I'm just going to hide the body. I'll think about disposing it later. And then Mitsuboshi-kun kind of gets suspicious about Hida-chan not being in touch with him. So he kind of tries to investigate, and he comes across Asahi. Because we see that at the end of the episode where Hida-chan gets murdered, she sent the picture of Shio hugging Sato-chan to Asahi. So Asahi is just like, okay, Mitsuboshi, you are kind of an accomplice in all of this, so you should help me find Matsuzaka-san so that I can get Shio back. And so Mitsuboshi-kun is just like, brother, I don't need to take orders from you. And he kind of agrees to this because Asahi kind of uses his dad's abuse techniques of knocking off a nail from the finger. And obviously, Mitsuboshi-kun is just like, fine. So he kind of finds Sato's address, and he kind of doesn't tell anybody about it, but he enters apartment number 308, where Sato's aunt is. And Sato's aunt is just like, oh my god, Mitsubishi, you kind of look lonely, and proceeds to assault him. Great. Okay. And then he is kind of tied up and everything for the second time in this anime. Poor kid. Okay. And then later, Sato's aunt kind of invites Sato in, and Sato is just like, listen, aunt, you kind of have a wrong idea about love, and you kind of messed up my idea of romance with it. And Sato's aunt is just like, yeah, but you found Shio-chan, so you look really good, so what is it that you want? And Sato is just like, I need you to help us because I killed my best friend, and now I think I need to take Shio-chan and run away. And Sato-chan's aunt is just like, okay, sure, yeah, I'll help you, and I'm really happy that you found someone you love and all that. And yes, I am the most insane adult here. And then she kind of arranges the money to help Sato-chan and Shio-chan escape. And by the way, Shio-chan actually knows everything, and she is just like, listen, Sato-chan, if you want to see me smile and if you just want to protect me, then you might as well have a doll in the house. I'm not needed and everything, and I hate you and everything. But Sato-chan is just like, listen, I can't stand that you hate me and everything. Please forgive me. And, tries to convince Shio-chan that she is more than just her lover, and Shio-chan kind of gets convinced, and both of them decide to run away together somewhere far, far away. So obviously, Sato-chan is just like getting everything ready, like passports and stuff, and then planning to go to a far-off place where nobody knows both of them. And then she throws her phone also. Now, Asahi finally gets a hold of Mitsuboshi, and he is just like, bro, I've been waiting the whole day for you to give me Sato-chan's address, and I'm pretty sure that she left her house by now. And then Mitsuboshi is just like, bro, I got assaulted again. Could you please come and help me? And Asahi is just like, yeah, sure, okay, as if I'm gonna help you. And then finally he ends up coming to Sato-chan's house. Now, Sato-chan is just like, oh no, I forgot the most important thing. I forgot the engagement rings in our house and all this. Hurry, burry. And then finally, she and Shio-chan kind of go back, and then they meet Asahi. And Asahi is just like, Shio, you need to come back with me. And Shio-chan is just like, bro, mom abandoned me. She told me that she didn't need me. And Asahi is just like, no, mom abandoned you because she realized that she was becoming like our dad and she didn't want to hurt you anymore. And then she came crying to me. And by the time we could search for you, you got kidnapped by Sato-chan. And Shio-chan is just like, you know what? I kind of know what Sato-chan did. I know that she killed her own best friend and I'm fine with it. And so I think that you should leave us alone, and I really hope that mom is leading a better life. And obviously this shocks Asahi because now Shio is completely brainwashed, and this is how easy it is to get a 6-year-old to be on your side by grooming her. So basically Asahi is trying to get Shio back, but Sato-chan's insane aunt kind of lights up the entire house with gasoline. So this leaves Asahi to see Hida-chan sitting on a chair, lifeless and burning in the fire. And obviously this breaks him from inside. So he needs to get Shio back at any cost because he can't lose anyone else. And then we see that Sato-chan and Shio-chan kind of are like, okay, if we go up, there is Mitsuboshi-kun, and if we go down, there is Asahi. So we need to jump right away because that way we'll be together in death, and if that's not the case, we are going to get caught. So they decide to jump off the terrace. Okay, and basically we think that everybody kind of dies, but we cut to the epilogue where it is seen that Sato-chan actually died, and we see that Hida-chan was also there. Her body was recovered, and the blame for all of this goes to Sato-chan's insane aunt. And then we see that Mitsuboshi-kun has gone completely insane, and his idea of reality is kind of distorted. And the one seeing all of this is Sato-chan's co-worker who had a crush on her, and she is just like, wow, man, people can be deceiving. And then we see Asahi visiting a hospital where we learn that Shio-chan is actually alive. And she is just like, wow, I wonder why Sato-chan actually kept me alive and managed to save me. And then we also see that outside the hospital, Shio-chan's mother is also there. But now, Shio-chan is just like, I will always remember Sato-chan and I will keep living like Sato-chan. This is my happy sugar life. And that's where the anime comes to an end. Now, I think this anime is pretty fast paced and it doesn't take up too much of your time, like I mentioned. So, it is a good one time watch. And also, if you are kind of used to watching all weird hentai, then this is nothing for you. As for the ending, I think Sato-chan kind of kept Shio-chan alive because she couldn't stand to see Shio-chan die instead of her, and she is just like, fine. The actual idea of being in love is to be selfish and to allow the other person to live the best life they can and to give the best of the best to the other person. Or the other theory is that Sato-chan just realized how wrong she was and how messed up her life had gotten, and she just didn't want Shio-chan to go in the same path. But ultimately, Shio-chan ended up becoming like Sato-chan and trying to carry Sato-chan's ideology of what love is like forward. And also, we see that the Sensei-san is kind of arrested, so everybody in the end gets what they deserve. Asahi-san remains a tragic character, but he still is hopeful that he can change Shio someday. And also, I think that this anime is beautifully shot. Like, especially the murder of Hyuga Shoko was one of the most iconic murders ever. And also, the scene where Sato and Shio-chan kind of jump off from the terrace was also really good because it kind of shows them visualizing how their lives would be if they had actually managed to run away. Like they would just be having fun, traveling around, eating ice creams and everything. And also, you get to see this opening scene from the very first episode where Sato-chan and Shio-chan think of jumping, but then the anime cuts to being like a slice of life anime and telling you that, oh my god, everybody is just too happy, so you don't think so much. But when you come to episode 12, you realize that, okay, the very first scene of this anime culminates to this and it kind of comes full circle. So if you still want to give this anime a go, I highly suggest it. I think that Happy Sugar Life is worth your time. Just don't take the ratings of my anime list too seriously, because my anime list managed to give this piece of trash a 7.5 and managed to give Happy Sugar Life a 6.9 or something. So it's like really weird to me, but I really think that Happy Sugar Life is worth your time. At least it would just satisfy your craving for a mystery drama. For me, I couldn't find any plot holes in this anime, so I think that this anime at least manages to keep you hooked throughout the story, and it does elevate its characters in a brilliant way with a limited cast. So it also explains how dirty the world can actually be, or it won't let you introspect too much about it. It's just a bunch of teenagers living their messed up lives and ultimately ending it. So if you have stayed till here and listened to my explanation, then I cannot appreciate you enough. Thank you so much for being with me till here. Arigatou gozaimashita. I'll see you in the next one.